Hello everyone, FrozenFoxy here, and I am bringing you Let's Play Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines on behalf of GameAnyone.com. As you may recall, I was doing this live on a stream, and then my computer decided to burn out. Well, I've decided to redo it from the very beginning, without doing it on a stream. I have also decided to do it in widescreen, which is technically impossible to do with this game. However, with a little bit of hacking on the engine, you can actually do that. But anyway, I'm going to turn down this audio just a bit. It seems like it might be a little bit loud. That might be just me, I don't know. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and begin a new game, and this is going to be the Malkavian edition of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. I plan to possibly play through this more than once with a couple different versions, I should say, of myself. Anyway, at the moment, as you can see, I've already entered the FrozenFoxy moniker up here, and chosen the Malkavian, and we're going to go with a male character. I might go with a female character in some of the playthroughs, but as everyone knows who watches me, I'm completely batshit, so we're going to go with that history, which basically means that we are able to use our dementation longer than usual. However, it does mean that we must spend more power, or experience, I should say, to raise the skill of obfuscate, which is okay. I mean, I suppose I'm not very sneaky as it is anyhow, so it doesn't matter. But anyways, the completely batshit history is: the curse of Clan Malkavian burns white-hot in your veins. You are a brimming cauldron of lunacy. For those of you who don't know, the Malkavian clan of Vampire the Masquerade is basically the clan of vampires who are completely insane. Each of them has what I believe, if I recall correctly, from the book, is also called a dementation. And basically what that is how they are insane. There's various different types of it. This particular insanity that this Malkavian has is basically somewhat to tell the future, or tell what's going on before it actually happens. In the actual tabletop Vampire the Masquerade game, it's not quite like that. You have to play it to understand. Anyway, let's move on. So now we've got our character sheet here, and this is pretty similar to what the tabletop game would have, but at the same time it's not quite the same, since we're going to be actually fighting things instead of rolling die, which I wouldn't particularly enjoy. And as you can see, we've got this little skip intro checkbox down here, which was not included in the original game. I am currently running on a unofficial patch, which is 6.8, and that allows us to skip the intro here, but obviously since I'm doing a Let's Play of it, I am not going to skip the intro. That would be bad. For our disciplines, we have one attribute point to spend, so we can either spend it on Auspex, Dementation, or Obfuscate. And personally, I like to spend it on Dementation first, because then you can get Vision of Death pretty early on, and use that against one of the earlier bosses in the game. Now, Vision of Death and most of these dementation spells don't really work against other vampires, so you have to remember that vampires have a resistance to other vampire abilities. Anyway, we'll go ahead and put a point into dementation here, and now we've got this physical attributes over here, and you'll notice that we don't have any ability points whatsoever to put in that because of our Malkavian class. We don't go for physical. If you were a different clan like the Bruja, which use their fists, you'd probably have a lot more physical points to go forth. And that's just kind of drawing towards the original tabletop game. Um, Anyway, so we've got 1 point of social that we can dedicate to either charisma, manipulation, or appearance. Now, the charisma will give us the ability to persuade, manipulation will give us the ability to haggle, and appearance will give us the ability to seduce. As a male character, the ability to seduce other characters in the game is not quite so wonderful. Especially when there's males that you have to get past. There's literally only one gay male in this entire game, so you can't really use the seduction too well against other male characters. There are quite a few female characters in the game, so I suppose seduction would be okay, but personally, I like the persuasion feat, which if you look down here on the side, we can tell that persuasion is basically our ability to convince people to do what you want them to. And I want people to do what I want them to. I don't want to manipulate them, and I don't want to seduce them. So now we've got 2 mental attributes here. We've got the perception feat, which, interestingly enough, mirrors various other games where the ranged comes into play with perception. And basically that's our weapons that we can shoot rather than just swing at people, which would be the melee. So I'm definitely going to put 1 into perception here, and that is going to raise our inspection feat as well, which allows us to notice hidden details, as it says right here. So basically any secrets or items laying around might flash at us, whereas if we had a lower inspection feat, we wouldn't be able to see those items. Now the other one right here that I want to get is going to be wits, because that gives us defense and hacking ability, and it's always wonderful to be able to hack. Intelligence over here will give us research and intimidation. However, I don't really care to intimidate, so I am definitely going to be going with the hacking and defense. And defense will definitely keep us alive, whereas hacking will let us get into things that we normally shouldn't be able to get into. Brawl will give us unarmed feat, dodge will give us defense, and we've got intimidation for intimidate, which we didn't even take earlier, so it doesn't matter, and subterfuge for seduction once again. Again, we didn't take that, so I'm going to go with defense, because I really don't have unarmed going on right now, and I don't plan on going that way either. Now we've got 2 in our skills right over here, so we can either go for firearms, we can go for melee, we can go for security, which will be our lockpicking, or we can go for stealth, which is our sneaking. Now we are a vampire with obfuscate, which is basically limited invisibility, and the higher that it goes, the more invisible that you can get. So the ability to sneak around is not really that handy for a Malkavian. So I'm going to go ahead and put 1 into firearms so that we have the ability to shoot a little better, and 1 into security so that we can lockpick. Finally, we have knowledges over here, which we have 3 of. So we can either go for hacking, we can go for finance, which is that haggle that I didn't pick earlier. Obviously, I'm not going to get that. We can go for inspection, or investigation, I should say, and that increases the inspection feat, which I don't care too much about. And then finally, we have scholarship, which will increase our research, and persuasion. I definitely want at least 1 into that, because we are going for persuasion anyway. And then I'm going to also put 1 into computer, so that we have the hacking up to 3, and I think I'll put the final point into that scholarship so that we have even more persuasion and research ability. which I think is a great way to start out your character, because then you can basically persuade people to do things for you that they normally wouldn't. Anyway, let's start the game.